Welcome, Savvy Seeker, to the Spiritual Phoenix podcast. This is your audio oasis and paranormal portal. You can experience legendary guests, thought-provoking tarot readings, astonishing astrological forecasts, and exposure to ideas intent on igniting your unlimited inspiration. Subscribe today to keep your fire burning. One last thing, you are encouraged to reach out and ask questions. Become a part of the show. Now please enjoy today's episode. Welcome back, everybody, to the Fool's Guide to Tarot. It is me, Ross Cessna, and Stefanie Caponi going through the major arcana and the relative cards to the major arcana. I don't know if I said that weird or not. Stefanie, what's up?
Hey, Ross. I'm great. How are you?
I'm reasonably well, thank you. So, do you want to do a quick recap of what we talked about last week?
Absolutely, Ross. Last week we talked about Justice, card number 11, and the pages. And Justice is a card that we discussed when we did Strength that can be interchangeable. And really the concept of justice being the universe kind of writing itself. So you don't have to worry about taking matters of serving justice into your own hands. The universe will take care of that for you. When that card comes up for you, knowing that everything that's happening is happening in order to rebalance itself.
That's very fitting, especially with where I'm at in life right now. And then as far as the pages, one of the ones that I don't feel that we talked enough about was the Page of Wands. I'm totally kidding.
I'm dying to hear the feedback from that. After, when we were done recording, I was like, wow, we really went on a big tangent. And
anyhow, about the Page of Wands. No, I'm kidding. So what are like the footnotes for all of the pages?
Oh, I want you to tell us the footnotes, please.
Oh man, my brain is shot. It's been so shot lately. I'm gonna look at a cheat sheet. Hold on. That's gonna be my footnotes. And you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Cheat sheet out. I think we should just go ahead and say that the pages have learned all the lessons of the ace through 10. And then they kind of graduate into the double elements.
So it's like beginner's mind. That's kind of the word that we used, right?
And they, the pages all have a quality of groundedness to them because they're all represented by the sign of Earth, plus their respective suit. So as you mentioned, the Page of Wands would be Earth and Fire.
So about that sacral, no, I'm joking.
Yeah, so about that sacral chakra.
Some of the other footnotes I have since I pulled it out now is Page of Swords, curious, energetic. Page of Wands, enthusiastic, discovery. Page of Cups, synchronicity, creative. And then Pentacles, manifestation, new enterprise.
I love it. And today we are going to be talking about my favorite card, Death.
Uh-oh. I thought we were talking about the Hangman. It's okay.
Get all about the Hangman? Oh man, I was so excited for the Death card.
I'm sorry. I killed your dreams, so that has to count as like the Death card.
You're gonna edit that out, right?
I'm not. It's fine.
You know why I think I thought that? Because in the Rider-Waite-Smith, if you look, the death looks like the Knights.
Oh yeah, I agree. You got punked.
I did. I punked myself. Wow. All right. Well, you know what? The Hanged Man's right here. So I got a little excited, which is very Hangman-esque to just, and also very Knight energy. It's funny to have those cards together because the Knights are action cards and the Hangman is still.
Yeah, it's very passive. Yeah. So looking at the Moon Void Tarot Hangman, I really like it. What are the lines behind her, by the way? Is that just like air or like a house?
It's you know what it kind of reminds me of? Like one of those that machine that you're hooked up to in the hospital that reads your like lines of your heart.
Oh, okay.
They're like flatlined. So when you're in hangman position, it's like there's nothing. Everything is like very static.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
And the energy of the hangman is like you're hanging before you fall into the death card. So what do you do before you transform?
Yeah, this card is like, I really like this card, but it's incredibly frustrating for me and like my personality in lots of ways. We had talked beforehand a little bit about how like I'm in like a 12.5 right now. So I'm like at the hangman on the cusp of death in my own cycle. But it's kind of getting patient with being uncomfortable and like being suspended in this uncomfortable situation. Is that kind of how you interpret it as well?
Absolutely. If you look at the way she's hanging, her hands are like in prayer pose.
Mm-hmm.
So she's accepted the fact that she's not moving forward in the way that she wants and that action isn't happening. So the only thing to do is to find a way to kind of meditate and find a way into an appreciation of the stillness.
Dude, prior to recording this, I went to my therapist for an hour. And I just got more from that one sentence that you said that I got from my whole hour conversation with my therapist.
Awesome. I'm going to send you a bill.
I don't have any money, so I'm a podcaster. Like I make money. Come on now. This is just a quick tangent. I don't want to get on too many tangents because I ramble on. But she had said that like I'm kind of stuck in the mud and spinning my wheels with like how I'm approaching everything right now, which I definitely felt stuck. But the solution is to not really have any resistance and not try to push on. Keep doing the work, but not try to push myself forward, I guess, emotionally. So I got to just like embrace the hangman thing and just kind of chill the fuck out.
I could not agree more. Last night, I'll go on my own little tangent now. So my partner in Witch Crime, her name is Mariah Simmons, and she's so gifted. She's a really magical human being. And she put together this kind of tarot meetup. It's called Tarot Lab. And we all readers of all levels get together and experiment with different ways of reading and different spreads and just like talking about it. And it was really cool. And last night somebody had mentioned it was kind of like the hangman. It reminded me of it. It's like we're pushing so hard to meet our goals that we forget that it's not about it's cheesy, but it's not the destination, it's the journey. And when the journey stops being fun, you're not going to get fucking anywhere.
Absolutely.
So in the hangman, it's like, hey, get quiet, meditate and breathe and remember that you're doing this and you chose this work because you're passionate about it and it's fun and you love it. And if it becomes worrisome, then take your hands off the wheel. Put your foot off the gas.
And like, I think that's a good way to kind of segue in how the numerology ties into the Empress in some ways, because the Empress energy really is kind of about sitting back, receiving, but also having this level of confidence, I would say.
Yes.
Is that how you would interpret that? Or what do you have to add on it might be a better question.
Thank you. No, I really like what you said. The energy of 2019, we're in a 12 and 3 year. So it's Empress and Hangman. And you have to, both are very, very yin cards. It's not about action. It's about receptivity and getting quiet. And almost, I feel like if you're in the energy of the hangman, you're preparing, you're just doing the internal energy work to become that energetic match to what it is that you're seeking, whether it's a relationship or a successful business or moving or a combination of everything.
All of those things,
all
please.
Of those things.
It's super funny too. Just looking at the tree in this, one of the things for me this year is the word that I chose, or two words I chose for this year, are rooted in expansion. And the hangman obviously has the tree in it. And thinking about the energy of the hangman, it really is kind of about rooting, like that patience in this whole rooting process so you can expand. So it's interesting how I chose that word. The numerology is associated with the hangman and all of that. All of that was unconscious. So it's a cool synchronicity.
Truly.
That's all I have for that. I don't know if you have any Stefanie Caponi bombs you want to drop on us.
Let me just check my notes and see.
Ooh, what's the astrology for it?
You know what's really funny?
Uh-oh.
Not funny, but it's associated with the planet Neptune.
Okay.
And Neptune is the ruler of Pisces.
Son of a bitch.
So this is really one of your like patron cards. So I suggest you put this as your phone background.
I gotta go through the cycle to get to it, but yeah, I'll get there. By golly. I don't ever want to say by golly again, by the way.
You just said it twice. If you think about the qualities of Neptune, and Neptune is like this dreamy, visionary, dissolver of boundaries, but not in a bad way. Not in like, I don't have any boundaries, but just like, how can we dissolve the boundaries of our separateness and see that we're exactly the same? And the only way to really dive into that Neptune energy is to get so quiet and still and just be able to be so in tune with your own breath that you breathe the life of like the planet. I think that the hangman can be a really beautiful energy of connecting with spirit and with the earth and with one another. And Neptune is in Pisces, and it has been in Pisces, I think, since like 2011, which I think is kind of part of the whole rise of everybody getting in touch with their spirituality in a way that we haven't seen since the frickin' Middle Ages. But we're not looking at the church as being the end all be all. We're looking at, okay, what is our relationship with ourself, the universe, the earth, and one another? It's a different vibe. So that's all I have to say about the hangman, and how I think that 2019 is such an important year of tuning in to your own inner divinity in order to receive, like the Empress, so that next year when it's 2020 and we're in the Emperor energy and in, the master number of 22, then moving forward is going to be a completely different way. Because all of the systems of how we've done things in the past have to break down, because that's not going to move us forward.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that in my own personal experience.
So you have to like kind of chill out and give yourself a break. Like, what you're going through is exactly what I'm going through, what our friends are going through. Anybody who's looking to evolve in a really authentic way is experiencing this.
One quick question on the Neptune. What is like the darker aspects of Neptune, or some of the heavier concepts of it?
The darker aspects and heavier concepts is once you kind of catch that feeling of disassociating from the physical plane, you can crave that in a really unhealthy way. So Neptune is linked to addictions.
Ah, okay. That's also why it's my card. Cheers.
No, I mean, Pisces rules, and Neptune, they rule the 12th house of astrology, which is where you lose yourself. A lot of people who are Neptune dominant don't feel at home in the physical world, and so they escape. And they look for substances to transcend the physical realm, to escape their body, escape their mind, escape reality. And I think that the evolved Neptune understands that there are so many ways of transcending and escaping without putting toxic substances in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Or looking for other people to help you look to escape in other people, where we lose ourselves in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Or we lose ourselves with trying to be somebody's everything and looking for somebody else to be our everything.
Yeah, which is impossible and incredibly unhealthy.
Exactly. But you know what? Sometimes we have to figure those things out. That's part of evolving as humans.
Yeah, thanks for that. It's interesting how much more that card fits me on all sorts of levels. So we're going to move into the wands now, if that's okay, if we have the Stefanie Caponi permission.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about the Knight of Wands. So first, before we go into like a specific knight, I think that it's important to say about the double elements. All of the knights are air.
Okay.
So they have that swiftness of air. I think that all of the knights are about movement. If you think about a knight, just the word knight, you think about being off on a quest.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these, and all of the animals that are on, there's no people because that's confusing, I think. And it puts the energy outside of yourself. So a lot of times in traditional tarot, people, they're like, oh, you choose the Knight of Wands for a young man with like hazel eyes and brown hair. And like, that's assuming everybody's white, and that's putting gender associations on things. So it can only be a white man, which I think is horrible, and not where we're at. So I took people out of court cards, and the knights that are off gathering something, I put them all as animals, and they're all based on animals that I've met during shamanic journeys.
Okay. Very cool.
Disclosure on my personal beliefs on it, but everybody has their own way of looking at what a knight is. I look at them as they are air plus their suit.
I like the air aspect, and it's interesting how they're very actionable. And you had kind of touched on this too, and how the action is associated with the passivity of the hangman, and understanding that the astrological element of the hangman and the perversion of it is kind of like that anxiety and trying to calm that anxiety through addiction and escapism. And then looking at these cards are almost kind of like the knights are almost kind of like anxieties, or could become anxieties because of like the mental ambition associated with them. So it's almost like the hangman is the solve for these overwhelming energies driving the thought.
I really like that. Yeah.
It's so weird, dude, because that I'm seriously getting so much more out of this than therapy right now, just like having this discussion.
It's the world to me. You know that I cherish this time and these discussions that we get to have, and it's really cool that you put it out there so other people can listen along.
Yeah, I'm really grateful just to be able to have the conversation, and I hope that it helps other people, but I know that it's entertaining and fun for me, and it helps me. So hopefully you get something from this. If not, I am. Back to the Knight of Wands. So that's kind of about the mental ability to create things or creating thought. How do you take that card?
So it's funny because last night during the tarot lab, I pulled this card twice. Actually, I pulled it for myself once and somebody else pulled it for me. And so I feel like I'm really in that energy. And the Knight of Wands, I feel like, is super passionate, super excited, super motivated, ambitious, and really ready to like hit the ground running. And I would say there's a level of haste. There's a hastiness to this. And I want to always, when this comes up, it's like you have all the enthusiasm, You have all the passion and the drive, but do you have your proper assignment?
Yeah, are you doing the right thing?
Right. I wouldn't take any action yet until you have all of the pieces in play. Like making sure you look before you leap, kind of.
One of the words that you used was passion, and I just actually found out like a more accurate description of what passion actually means. And I'm curious if you're familiar with this definition of it, where it means like willing to suffer for what you want. It's actually not as like beautiful as I thought the word passion was.
I don't know that I would assign that to passion, but I would say that, wait, say it again.
That's actually like the definition of passion, really. If you look it up,
for what you
like, what you want, willing to suffer for your cause or for whatever. It's basically willing to suffer for it.
I mean, I'm a pretty fiery person and a pretty watery person. So I don't even, when I'm putting all of my effort into what I want, I don't notice if I'm suffering.
For sure. And I think that's part of it. Like, it's not necessarily suffering on some level, but there's a lot of suffering that maybe is eclipsed by it. I just thought that was interesting. That's the definition of what passion is.
I never thought about it that way, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I hadn't either until I read that. I was like, damn. And I actually had to look it up because I was like, I don't trust this. And sure enough, it's part of the definition. I was like, that's weird, dude. I don't know where I was going with that. I was just curious. So it really is kind of about the ability to move towards creating what you want, but like also with that haste, and you said kind of be cautious that you're investing your energy and your mind in the right places.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you look at also, you can consider that the energies of the nights could also, it could be you moving towards what it is that you want in that way, or it could be something coming to you. You know, sometimes when this card comes up, I wonder if it's best to just keep myself open because an offer is going to come to me or an opportunity is coming my way that I'm going to feel really passionate about. So I don't need to go out there and try to seek it out. It's on its way.
I guess numerology, that goes back to the Empress of just kind of sitting down, and I guess knights don't have numbers, but technically they would be 12 as well. So it's like still that kind of sitting and waiting for it of the Empress with confidence. That's really all I have to say on it. Do you have anything else you want to add to it?
Nope, that was all I had to say. You want to move on to the Knight of Swords?
Absolutely. I like your little bird you got carrying the sword there, the little crow. Is it a raven or a crow?
It could be either, because I've met ravens and crows in journeys. And they're an interesting animal. They, you know, they represent like the magical realm and shape-shifting and warnings. A lot of times, like if you're not seeing situations clearly or you're being taken advantage of, it can show as a warning of somebody that's trying to like take something from you. Or when I was living with I was living with this woman for a very short time, I rented a room in her house, and I think I told you, and she was very manipulative of me. And during that time, crows started gathering outside of my bedroom window, like every day, just flocks of them.
Oh, wow.
Like they were warning me, like, you have to like leave this situation. This isn't going to end well. Like you need to figure out a way to like protect yourself.
That's super interesting.
So the Knight of Swords is air of air. So that's all mental and communication energy, and it's moving very, very fast. So your mind could change so quickly, or you could have a quick insight, and it's hard to like catch those things.
I really get anxiety from like all of these nights is like really what it is, especially like air of air, it being like thought of thought or thought of communication. Like it could just be my perception of it, but like it's a very anxious thing to be thinking about your thoughts. Cause like for me, like when my wheels get going, dude, that can be some dangerous territory.
Sometimes when this card comes up, it's kind of like, are you spiraling? Are you caught up in, are you so caught up in your thoughts that you've lost touch with the ground?
I like that.
Or it can also be saying like there's communication coming. You don't have to worry and stress to come up with an idea. You need to, get back in your hangman and like find any way you can to quiet your mind so that the answers and solutions can come to you, whether that's through your own inner knowing or, sometimes you see messages everywhere, or it could be somebody contacting you with an offer.
I like that understanding of it. I find that to be super helpful, and that kind of relieves some of the anxiety. I think one of the things that creates a lot of chaos for me, and these cards specifically, is I see all the movement in it, and it for me is like you had said earlier, a quest. And that's one of my perennial problems in my life is like being on this eternal quest and not understanding that like sometimes I have to chill the fuck out and like let the universe bring stuff to me. And like I'm missing opportunities by always going on these quests.
Well, I understand that. I hear you. But you also have to like that one sentence where you said you miss opportunities. You never miss opportunities. It'll present itself in a different way. But we have to. I think a lot of people really stress about decision making, and they're like, should I choose this or should I choose that? Or if I choose this, am I missing this? And it's the reminder that everybody needs is that decisions are neutral. There's no decision that's good or bad. They are all neutral. And the moment you make a decision, it shifts the course and brings you what you need. And so you can't ever look at the other thing because you just have to choose. Because if you choose nothing, then like the universe can't help you. But the universe will shift itself to help you regardless of what choice you make.
That's good to know. And it's important to remember that like I don't have that issue most of the time. I jump on something very quick without thinking it through all the way. But that's a whole different problem. Do you have anything else that you want to add to the Knight of Swords?
No.
How about which one do you want to do next?
Let's do the Knight of Pentacles. It's one of my favorites.
I feel like you're saving one of the ones that I'm going to enjoy the most for last, the Knight of Cups. So,
well, I think you and I, cups are both of our favorites, so I always save the favorite for last.
I like that. Knight of Pentacles. So it is. I'm showing you your own card or attempting to, and I'm like holding it up to the wrong camera. So there's what your card that you created looks like, in case you didn't know.
Thank you. You're the best.
Oh man, I'm a train wreck some days. I really like how you have it presented though. So there's a couple ways that I want to take this, but I want to see what this card means to you first.
Okay. So this card, I think, is really relative to my experience right now. So maybe you will also resonate with this. The Knight of Pentacles, it's the slowest moving knight because it's Earth. And it's pentacles, so it's of the material realm. And the way that I kind of I'm seeing this in my life currently is that because it's a snake that's carrying the pentacle through the garden, a snake sheds its skin. So in order to get that new pentacle that I want so badly, there's a shedding process, and it takes a long time. And you're not going to get that reward, and you're not going to get that abundance without patience and without like a willing to really change and evolve. And it's a slow, sometimes painful process, but the reward is so great that it's worth it. You're willing to suffer.
Yeah, you have passion.
Yep. You're willing to suffer for it. And I feel like that's the passion comes through in the red on the roses.
I like that. I definitely was going to touch on the snakeskin aspect of it. One of the things, too, is serpents were symbols of wisdom in ancient cultures, and even is relative to kind of the awakened Kundalini energy and all of that stuff also. So it could be that some of the material benefit comes from just aligning yourself in that right way, which is kind of shedding the skin. And it is that slow, painful process of cleaning out and balancing and clearing your energy and how you perceive life in general. One of the things too that I like about how you use the roses is there's all of these little prickly parts to it, but there is that like beautiful flower at the end of it. I guess this is like a card of manifestation overall too, correct? Like thought becoming material.
Yes.
Law of attraction card. I'm done talking about it. No, I'm kidding. What were you going to say?
I think that all Pentacles cards, all earth elements have a manifestation quality to them. But this card is really about patience while things are coming.
Yeah, I really wish that the universe would hurry up with everything, but I guess it takes time. And
and that's, when we sit there and we're like, I wish the universe would hurry up with it. I've been really working on, like I had mentioned before, saying that and really embodying and believing that it's this process, and you're not going to be happy with what you're looking for. Like you won't be happy when what you want shows up. You have to be happy anyway, and then what you want will show up.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, the other aspect, I was more so joking when I was saying the universe, I wish it would hurry up. The other thing too is, just as an example, there's been instances in my life where I was supposed to do something and then it didn't end up happening that way. But in the interim between when it eventually did happen, I learned all sorts of other lessons to make that situation, to like expand knowledge. And specifically, like I was supposed to work on one of my steps with my sponsor last fall before he went on vacation. And he went on vacation, and there was all these other things that happened where I had like a whole entire month extra to kind of sit with it. And in that, I actually learned the internal process of this step, and like I actually lived it more so than like wrote about it or thought about it. It was really fucking weird, dude. But I think that really is kind of, it happens at the right time, regardless of if you want it to be the right time. It's always the right time if you're being present. And that's kind of goes back to the hangman energy of kind of getting that shift in perception about waiting, because that's the other thing. This is like a shift in perception.
Yes, we did not say that. The perspective shift, that is huge.
Seeing the world completely differently.
Also, so sorry to interrupt you, but
oh, you're fine.
I forgot to say that a big part of, if you look at that shift in perspective and you notice that, their root chakra, they're upside down. The root chakra is above the crown chakra and the heart chakra. So a lot of times when you need to shift your perspective, if you do any kind of yoga moves, like do something where you can get your root over your head.
I was doing headstands for like the past month and a half prior to like getting off my schedule, and I was doing legs on the wall.
Yep.
Those are both phenomenal postures.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's just, yeah, I have a friend, and she would say that when she was stressed at work, she would just do handstands, and that would help her like shift her energy.
I've had to back off of it because I gained some weight in the past month and a half, but I got to get back to it eventually. Something else, like since we're talking about this in the coin aspect of it, somebody had told me this, and it's not physically on the card, but because they are upside down, kind of any money that they had in their pockets would have fallen out. So this is also the card about like not worrying about monetary stuff and just letting it kind of fall by the wayside. And that ties in with Pentacles. So I guess it wasn't completely off on a tangent. It amazes me sometimes how my mind like works.
But you bring up a very good point. You know, money is energy, and sometimes the money that we've accumulated in the past has a particular energy to it that is no longer resonant with our path forward. So sometimes you need to part ways with your money, your possessions, and whatever energy is associated with that in order to make way and make room for new.
Clearing space.
Yes. And a lot of people get freaked out when they have like a huge bill that comes up and they have to like spend a ton of money on it. And it's like, you know what? That money needs to leave your life because it has an old energy attached to it.
I like that perspective. Do you have anything else that you want to add to that?
No.
Oh, I like how you said that. So now we move on to the Knight of Cups. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm going to show you your card again. I'm kidding. I really like how you have the oyster in it, and the glass, and kind of like the martini glass aspect, and the pearl is the olive. Is that how it's supposed to be, or is that just how I'm taking it?
That's just how you're taking it, but I like it. I appreciate it. Art is subjective.
The thing that I really like about this card, and correct me if I'm wrong in how you're representing it, I really see it as, so pearls are created by irritation, and this is about really sorting through your emotions, sorting through your irritations, and finding that kind of pearl that's been created through the discomfort of it. And kind of, I mean, if you look at the Knight of Cups and Rider Smith Waite, it could be quote unquote the Holy Grail, and not in the biblical sense, but in the metaphor of what it's supposed to represent: union, communion, connection, blah blah blah. Is that kind of what you meant and how you represented it?
No, but I like that a lot.
The blah 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 part? No,
I like that. The part about the pearl being created from irritation. I never considered that. I did, like in my first foray into guided meditations and shamanic journeying, I kept meeting oysters and pearls, and I was trying to figure out what that gift was to me. And then I had the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck also. And I would say almost every single day for a year and a half, I kept pulling the oyster card. And Kim Kranz's description of that card was like that the pearl is inside the oyster, like at the bottom of the ocean, and it's in hiding. It's like you're hiding the most beautiful gift and the best part of yourself. And it's like time to open up and time to share. And I guess when I think about that, like holy grail of connection and community and communion, a lot of times it comes from a really unexpected place. And there's a vulnerability in opening up and sharing that like really beautiful part of yourself that you hide away because of pressure. And maybe that pressure that makes the pearl is the pressure you've put on yourself, or maybe you don't see your own beauty or your own special love. And that oftentimes prevents people from offering that to somebody else.
I definitely like how you present that. It's kind of like oftentimes we don't know what our own true gifts are, and because we don't know how to express it because we buried it down so deep. And I think for a lot of people, like that goes into kind of childhood and understanding that some of the things were suppressed because it was unpleasant for parents to deal with them, and they learned to kind of shove it down, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, definitely. I grew up in a household that my parents told me that you have to like keep your emotions in check.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to see you expressing. People only want to see you when you're pretty and smiling.
Yeah, I think a lot of kids get that, unfortunately. Like, anger is bad. Young men get told crying is for little girls. Like, all this kind of incredibly damaging stuff that, like, we carry with us for years. And even after we're consciously aware that, like, that's not healthy to, like, act that way, it's difficult to, like, unwire that because you've had X amount of years of that being your programming.
Exactly. And then you know yourself. We don't hide from ourselves. We know what our shit is, and then we try to package it up and to deflect from the truth. And we get into relationships with people and we hide our baggage or what we think is baggage. And I feel like the Knight of Cups is about really offering, I learned it as offering love. And the Rider-Waite-Smith, he looks pretty dashing and pretty confident. He's kind of leaning back with his chest open and his horse's head is bent down. So he's like, here's my love, and I'm perfect and handsome. And you look at that and you're like, well, nobody's going to offer me that because I'm a train wreck. I cry all the time. I throw tantrums, and I'm like, I wear glasses or whatever you're like, your tics are, where I'm not beautiful enough or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, that didn't feel. Also, it didn't feel like you're meeting. If somebody's coming in on a horse, you're not even meeting them on like the same level. Like, you're looking up to them always.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do I get up to that level when I feel down here?
And that goes into the kind of the change of perspective of the hangman, kind of looking at things differently and kind of also finding what your own true gift is and finding your own little pearl of wisdom and swimming into the depths of your emotions, or like the oceanic depths of everything, and kind of pulling that oyster up.
Right. And also knowing that if you love yourself and you are fully accepting of, air quotes, flaws, and you've made peace with that, you can then fully offer yourself to somebody who's going to see all of those things and be like, that's great. That's just part of you. And I love it all.
Yeah, it's really, even like hearing that, I'm like, I really like what you're saying, but I don't know that it's realistic. I don't mean that in like a rude way. That's just something that like I have to sort through my own personal experience myself, I guess. Because even being in a good place, I think that's one of the things that's incredibly difficult at times. Even if you're in a good place with you, finding other people that are in a good place with themselves can be the real struggle at times.
But is it? We talk every week about water seeking its own level. So if you're truly right with yourself, then you could be very surprised.
Maybe I need to get out more. Maybe that's it. Yeah, I do agree with that, but I have some kind of way to rationalize or justify its untruth, but I don't have the words for it now.
There.
So you get a win for that one, Stefanie Caponi. You win this round. Caponi!
Not all winning.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
We're all winning.
Do you have anything else you want to add to that discussion? before we do the recap and all that?
I think I'm good. I think we definitely saved the best cup for last. Somebody I have to send you this. It was really funny. I should post it. I saved it on Instagram, but somebody did the court cards as like Myers-Briggs, which I don't know if you've ever taken that test before, but in Myers-Briggs, I'm the Knight of Cups.
Nice. I want to say that I've taken the test before, but I don't remember what I was. But it was fitting for me, whatever it was. I just don't remember.
I live for taking like any type of personality, whatever. So like in Myers-Briggs, I'm an ENFP, and like in human design, I'm a 5.1 generator, and I just love reading about those things.
Psychology is really fascinating, and it really all ties into tarot and all that stuff anyhow. So it's all interrelated for sure. So as far as the Hanged Man, we kind of said shift in perspective, patience, centering yourself. What else do you want to add to that?
Being present.
Being present, yeah. Yeah, because if you're not present when you're hanging upside down, something's fucking wrong. Like, you can't really run from it. And then we did Knight of Wands first, I want to say.
Yeah, so air of fire. Having all of that passion and ambition and forward momentum on your side, but just making sure that you have all of the details in place before you jump and you take action.
I have a question for you, because I have all the cards laid out in the order that we did them. And in the Rider-Smith Waite, Knight of Wands and Knight of Swords are going to the left, and Knight of Pentacles and Knight of Cups are going to the right. Like, none of the symbolism is by accident. So what do you think that means?
Well, it's interesting because typically the right is action and the left is reception. But it also could be, I mean, if you look at in astrology, fire and air work really well together because air feeds fire. And water and earth go well together because earth is solid and is the container for the water. And I think that fire and air move faster, where water is more still and earth is very slow also.
I like all of that.
The opposition, like the elements are moving in the same direction because they have more in common.
And it's kind of like a balance point by going in the opposite way that they normally, we would assume they would, or something like that.
Yeah.
One of the things too, and I'm curious about your take on this, is in magic there's left hand path and right hand path. Left hand path is more self-serving, right hand path is more community oriented. So if cups and pentacles are on right, facing to the right, it could be saying to dedicate more of your kind of wealth and emotional stuff and kind of generating wealth and healing emotions to community type structures. And then as far as wands and swords, like, think about how you think about reality and like dedicate your energy that way instead of thinking about how other people think, and think about how you can create a better version of yourself on the left hand path. So that way your self-serving is more focused on personal development, so it can better serve right hand path.
I like that.
I might just be me really framing everything how I want to see it, but
No, I think it's great. I mean, that's what your intuition comes up with. So that was definitely a message that we all needed to hear.
Okay, now back into the bullet points. Just to recap for everybody again, since I totally derailed us with that question. Hangman, change of perception, receptivity, passivity. What was the other thing that you had added that I had forgotten? The other things.
Presence. Enjoying where you're at.
Patience too. I don't know if I said that one. If not, patience.
Patience.
Knight of Wands, you had said.
Like that fiery ambition. Go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have, if it's a knight on a quest, just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
Knight of Swords.
Knight of Swords, we can heir of air. That can come when things are you're changing your mind, or ideas are coming in so quickly that you need to kind of try to slow yourself down to like catch them or say what you need to say.
Knight of Pentacles.
That is like the slow moving earth, air of earth. Kind of a card of manifestation and just change.
Can also like an element of patience, really, that one too.
Yeah, big time.
And then Knight of Cups.
Knight of Cups is it's that like offering of love and support and community, but doing it from a really open, vulnerable place. And
awesome.
opening yourself to receiving. All of these cards have a giving and receiving element.
So reciprocity.
Yeah. So you could be the knight that's giving something, or something could be coming into you.
And the real trick is that anytime you're giving something away, you always get something back, even if it's not tangible. Which is a whole different tip. But
that's a universal law.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Stefanie. I really appreciate you taking the time going through this. And as we always say, if y'all have any questions, you can reach out to myself or Stefanie on Instagram. All of that information will be in the show notes. And yeah, Stefanie, do you have anything else that you want to add?
I don't think so. I think we really went through everything. That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Ross, for having me. And thank you to all of our listeners. We really appreciate you. And stay tuned for next week when we actually go through the death card. And the queens. I'm so excited. The queens are my favorite.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be back here next week. Peace, people. Thank you for listening. If you love this show, one kind review goes a long way. If you have a question or comment you'd like read on air, please send your email to staff@spiritualphoenixstudios.com or use the link in the show notes.